Welcome back to another exciting edition of Effective Living. I'm Coach Ricardo Miller, and I'm joined with the one and only Carol Crockett. How are you doing?
I am great, Coach. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. It's Thanksgiving week. Mm.
Absolutely. Oh,
Is
yes.
is this a big week for you? Is this a cooking week for you, or do you go by your sister, by your mom? What's this week like for Carol Crockett?
This week for Carol Crockett, I think I have a very simple week because it's about four siblings here,
Yeah,
and mom is still alive. So
yeah,
mom want everybody at mom's house, and
yeah, yeah.
so we enjoy that. So on Wednesday, I go over and help mom. She used to do the stuffings, and so I go over and help her do that. And and so my specialty, Coach,
Yep. Yep.
I do the fresh green beans, and of course I do a 7-layer salad. And so um that's kind of but everybody else, other siblings, we got a set menu. Everybody knows what they're supposed to bring, and so we got
Uh-huh.
some young adults who are now working and have jobs.
Uh-huh.
And so now it's not the siblings responsible for doing all the meal and the prep and stuff like that. So we're kind of getting away with it a little bit easier this time because we
So,
got
so
some.
go ahead.
No, I just said we got some young adults who are now able to pitch in and help contribute, and so we're looking forward to it.
Nice. What is your favorite dish? What is your favorite meal? Would you say during Thanksgiving? It's a must. It has to be on your plate.
Uh, Big Mama's candy yam is a must for everybody that comes into the house. And of course, a potato pie. I
Uh-huh.
text Karen today and asked her, "Hey, I like to see what everybody else is cooking and get receipts." She said, "You in the kitchen?" I said, "Yeah." But the absolute must for me is the greens and the
Yeah.
candy yams. What about you?
I'm a Karen makes a main mac and cheese
Okay,
macaroni. She makes it. It's incredible. And I like ham.
ham.
So
Okay.
I love that ham
Mhm.
all day. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of can do without the meat sometime, but a little piece of turkey and a little piece of ham. But anyway, yeah, but the veggies, I love the veggies. So
Yeah. Well, we have Coach Deborah Smith joining us out of
I
Jacksonville,
see her.
Florida. What is your favorite? I think she does a full spread. I think she.
Oh,
I don't know if it's her who cooks or Deacon Dan does most of it. What do you cook, Coach Deborah? If you're watching, ladies and gentlemen, tell us what it is that you like best about Thanksgiving. Tonight we have a great topic. Oh, am I excited about tonight's topic? And if you haven't read tonight's blog, we have a blog that was dropped on the website, and you really should go by and check it out. But we're talking about 8 nevers. Never,
mm,
never, and oh my Lord, how much never. A lot of people, Minister Carol, who said, I want to live life effectively. Miller, I want to live life effectively. Well, you sort of dismiss yourself from living life effectively if you have too much never. Too much
absolutely.
never. What's your view on that old term never?
Never. Well, the saying say never,
Yeah, yeah.
because those that never can keep you in a place that you can stay stuck.
Hmm.
It keeps you in a place where you're limiting. I think about it, makes you so limited when you say never. I never can do this. I never, so like you're saying, tonight's blog is absolutely amazing simply because you always tell us a lot of things that we should do,
Right,
but
right. Yeah,
here's some things that we're going to talk about tonight that
yeah,
we want to do some eliminating, some nevers that continues to keep us in a place that we're not living our most effective life. And that's what this community is about, right? We
yeah,
want to
yeah,
be, we are becoming. I love that.
yeah.
We are becoming. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean we made it yet, right?
Right,
But
correct.
we're becoming. And there's some things we've got to get rid of and see
Yeah,
some things that's hindering us that's limiting us and keeping us from being the very best Coach Ricardo Miller or
Come
the
on.
best
Yep.
Harold Crockett that
Yep.
we can be.
You know, isn't it interesting that when you want to build a house, the level of attention that goes into a building house, a lot of people underestimate. This is not grandma's house. This is not papa's house. This is the new modern house is so much more complicated than the houses of old when it came to building homes years ago and in comparison to now. Well, in addition, an amazing life have more pieces to it that just like that of a house. Just like that of a house. It has so many pieces. Now, when someone says, I want to live my best life, when they said, you know what, I want to do it effectively. Well, here's the deal. Here's what you got to remember. There's a bunch of parts.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of, so a lot of times people say, well, I'm doing it all right, and I don't know why I'm not living life effectively. Well, the truth is you are doing hey, watch this. In building a house, you bought the right brick, you bought the right wood, you bought the fixtures, you bought, the metals, you bought the plumbing equipment, you bought the electrical wires. But do you have the skill?
Wow.
Hey.
You gotta have some skill, don't you?
Do you have the skill to bring them together? Effective living is bringing faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun together.
Absolutely.
Bringing those together, and then you walk into a restroom when the plumber knows how to bring it together. You say, "Oh, that restroom is beautiful." When the you know what I'm saying, the carpenters put in the work in the cabinets in the kitchen, is that, oh man, that area is so beautiful because somebody figured out how to put it all together. Tonight I want us to dive into our talk 8 nevers on your journey to living life effectively. I want to dive it off. I'm going to kick off one. Let's go back and forth, Miss Carol, with those.
All right.
I'll start off with the first one. Never seek approval. Never seek approval. It's amazing that seeking approval can become an addiction. Seeking approval can become an addiction to the point where you never discover yourself because you've only lived your life based on other people's check marks.
Right.
Overly giving yourself to other people's approval without discovering yourself can cause you to have a lot but have nothing. Have a lot but not have anything, to the point where, watch this, Miss Carol, you bought the car but don't like the car, but you bought it because it's the approval of the people at the office. Wow. You chose to move in that neighborhood, but you don't even like that neighborhood. You don't even like that side of town, but they said if you have a degree and you went to this school and you make this kind of money, you should live over there. And so you're wanting the approval of everybody else, and you end up missing out on life at its best. So I say never seek approval. Seek self-identity, self-discovery, but not overly engage yourself in self-approval. What do you think?
Well, you know what, Coach? I love in your book when you talk about believing yourself. I think that chapter changed my life, because when we start believing in ourselves, you won't be worried about what they said. You won't, like you say, have to have a balance. But the approval, I'm moving over here because they say. I like this car because they say. You missed 2 factors. What did God say? And what is it that you want to say and you won't say? But you go building your life based upon what someone else say, seeking the approval of others. When are you going to know? You miss an opportunity, I think, to know what you can learn about yourself, but also you miss an opportunity to actually have that approval, your self-approval. You miss that opportunity. You miss an opportunity to not know what you really want, because you're so busy building up on what somebody else say is good for you, and they don't have a clue. Guess what? They don't really even care
Yeah.
about you.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you
Okay.
this. You've been around, you've seen people, you've been in the educational system for years. Have you noticed? I wonder if people notice how much we give major emphasis to everybody else's opinion of what we want.
Absolutely. You do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it goes so much further. I think it goes even back to our childhood. You know, we want the
Yep.
approval of parents,
Yep.
and we want that.
Yep.
We want the approval in the educational system because we want to be honor roll students if we're there. We want so all of these things start building up and building up. And sometimes when we become church members, we want the approval of the pastors,
Yeah.
approval of the person. You know, you want
the
these.
monitor, the supervisor, all of these.
All of these are all outward things that influence you.
Yeah.
But what is when do that's what I say. I love effective living because it makes us take time and look inwardly. Look and appreciate, because if God intended for us all to look the same, be the same, and act the same, he wouldn't have had any need for this diversity that he put in each one of us.
Yes.
So I think that you teach this. We have to unlearn some things that we've, you know, I'm 70 plus. I don't learn a lot of stuff that I find I need to unlearn, but seeking approval of others is one of those things that I think that we have to stop looking at that if we want to have our effective life. If we're becoming, we will be okay not having the approval of others, because like you said, we may not be everybody's cup of tea.
Come on. Yeah.
But if I can just be okay being Carol and sipping the cup of tea.
Yeah.
I've been given how much better. I mean, I'm reflecting how much better my life could have been. But I'm not gonna look at that. I'm trying to become better every day. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Let me ask you this. And I've never asked you this before because you're part of the community. When the light bulb turned on for you about me highlighting the need for inward work. Remember, I keep talking about how, and the last 6 months, I've really probably brought that out a lot, where I'm like, it's amazing how much people live from outside.
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole thing. It's almost, I can't order that. What would they think if I ordered that? I can't drive that. Listen, I'm 47 years old, and there is so much of, before I do this, I'm thinking about everybody else's. And don't get me wrong, there's some healthy
balances.
Some balances there for community. But when you thought about that, because it's clear you caught the idea that why is my life so centered on everybody else's? How was that for you, and what was your whoa? And go ahead.
Well, to be honest, you're talking about that a little bit this week, but I never realized how I'm such a people pleaser. And in this community, I really that's when my light bulb moment came on. That I'm such a people pleaser. So I had to go back and say, why? Why am I such a people pleaser? But it's all of those. I mean, it's a lot of things.
Yeah, along
the way that I built up. But it was a light bulb moment for me, because I think one time I was in a place where I wanted the approval of everybody that I was leading.
Yeah.
And guess what? You wasn't listening and let me complain. But it was a light bulb, and I had to come to that reality myself. Talking to you, but also noticing you weren't engaging me and letting me have any opportunities to have any excuses to do all of this. And then I had to step back and say, why do I need, why I'm 70 something years old. Why can't I just be okay? And if I mess up, but I think the thing is, Coach, we're afraid to take the risk. We're afraid of what, once again, that's that seeking approval. We're afraid what people are going to say. We're afraid that we're not going to look like everybody in that box. And so we're afraid to step out and be who God called us to be. And
Yeah.
even if I look differently that time,
Yeah.
I got to
Yeah.
be okay with that. So
Yeah.
the light bulb moment for me was recognizing and doing that inward work about being, I knew I was a people pleaser, but I didn't know the depth
Wow.
of that people pleasing and how it was keeping me stagnated and
Yeah.
fearful and not wanting, not even wanting, you know what, not even wanting to be around people who I know now could have helped me.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I was so afraid to even step out
Yeah.
and be transparent,
Yeah,
coach.
right. Yes.
Be
Yes.
transparent. So I done had so many light bulb moments. We'd have to be on here forever. But this the pinpoint one was
Yeah.
that people pleasing. And it's
Yeah.
and guess what? It's a constant fight to
Yeah.
not stay there. It's every
Yeah.
day you got to get up and say, and you got to know that that's what I can be, but that's
Yeah.
not what I want to continue to be.
Wow.
So what
Yeah.
am I going to do? Because that's I have to be responsible for Carol.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I can only be responsible for me. Here's the crazy thing. A lot of people, I know Karen, my wife, laughs a lot when I would say, I'll be in meetings. I'll be at a store. And I'll say, I'm 40. At this point now, I'll be like, I'm 47 years old.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I'm having to tell myself, what's the person? Well, you're not gonna want that. Nobody really orders that. I just ordered it. But could I get that right up? Well, nobody really orders that. Could I still get it? But you know what? Let's just go ahead and hold on. I'm 47 years old. Don't tell me. I just told you
what I want. Amazing. And do you know sometimes we'll let people talk us out of what we want, what we know we want.
Because someone said we don't want to look like we're being difficult. We're wanting to please the person who is demanding this. Sometimes, well, I don't want to hold up the table. I don't want to hold up the line, and so forth for many different reasons. Mm-hmm. And because everybody else would let the person decide for them, some people think you should let someone decide for you as well. But you, at this age, I can decide for me. How do you feel? I'm not feeling well. Mm-hmm. Well, you should feel okay. You want to tell me at 47 how I just told you I don't feel well, And so anyhow, let's go.
This is long. I'm telling you, like I said, we could stay there forever. But the next one you talked about is never beg for attention. Wow. So when you think about that, and I think all of these are so interconnected because it has a lot to do with us loving ourselves, caring about ourselves, doing the work inwardly. This is also inwardly, but you beg for attention. So you're seeking something from the outside that you probably have not even embraced what's going on with you on the inside.
Yeah.
So I think we do that, and in order for us to start knowing why we're begging for this attention, and you say this, when you have to spend some time with you, take time, spend some time with you. I'm telling you, we got to get to know who we really are. I said one time, will the real Carol stand up? Because we got all these different people we put on. I put on this hat for church. I put on this hat for work. I put on this house for my family. Yep. When will we stand up? But if you're begging for that attention, that's something you're seeking from the outside. Why are you seeking that? Why do you need that? And that's what I wrote this down. You need to make your own list of things that you love about yourself. Yeah. So that you won't be looking. I mean, all of us love somebody to give us some compliment. That's only human nature.
Yeah, it is.
But if you're begging for that attention, or some people even go as far to make spectacles of themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them go and make fools of themselves. Let's be real.
Yep.
Get that attention, but that is you're seeking that attention from the outside because obviously there's something going on that you are missing from the inside. And if you don't spend some time with yourself and begin to value you for who you are, give yourself. Hey, I used to do this program and say, Just give yourself some love. Hug yourself. If you have
Hug
you not hugged yourself today, hug yourself. Love
Yes.
you for who you
Mm.
are. Yeah.
But that's so important. Oftentimes, the people who are begging for attention, they don't do the work to figure out where did that come from as well.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? That I'm literally so thirsty for attention. You want to be free, but here's the deal: a little attention. I want some attention. I want my videos to go viral. I want my book to be sold. I want to be on a billboard.
Mm-hmm.
But watch this. When we talk about begging for attention, we're talking about to that place where you can't sleep no more, where you're selling soul, where as you mentioned, Minister Carol, where you're doing things that makes you look ridiculous, like literally, you're going beyond all healthy reasonableness, even for you. We're not even talking about external people of you, but watch this. You're begging for attention to the point where you're losing even your self-respect. You know, you're losing your self-respect. He's like, well, I just want them to respect me. You're actually not respecting yourself.
Exactly. Disrespecting you.
You know, yeah. So let's go to the next one. Number 3 would be never quit. Never quit, and I will attach this to that. Never quit on what God has called you to do.
Oh my God. Never
quit on what God has called you to do. Now, here's the deal. There will be times you will feel like quitting. Okay? I tell people, slow down if you must, but don't quit.
Don't quit.
Coast if you must. That's what, coast. You know, you may not be going as fast as you may want, but you haven't stopped. And even with the effective living morning classes, what we're doing, I tell people, just take one thing from the class. Just show up sometime and just let it talk in the background. Yes, your mind may not be quite here. Yes, your spirit, you may not even be feeling the best. But you deciding to just keep showing up and keep chipping away. Oh my God, let me tell you something. I have met so many talented, gifted, and just highly potential people who have quit, and they are sitting on the porch of regret because, watch this, Miss Carol, they can talk better than me, they can write better than me, they can, come on, man, they can draw better than me, they can dance better than me, some might even say they look better than me. But guess what? But I'm running circles around them. I'm not. This is not pride or. What I'm saying is, the most talented, if they quit, will never beat the person who just chooses to use their average gift, but remain consistent and chipping away at improving. And so the Bible talks about the race is not for the swift, not for the strong, but those who endure to the end. Don't quit on what God's called you to do. What's your view there?
And just like you said, don't quit. And like you said, you may get tired, you may get weary, but don't give up. And if you need to, sometimes we do need to take a rest.
Come on, rest.
It's okay to have some rest, but the rest doesn't mean, all rest means is you're recuperating and getting back up so you can begin, you can start again and get in, stay in the race. But like you were saying too, I've learned that word. If you just stay consistent, stay consistent in your lane now. I'm good on that lane thing because I think when you start comparing yourself, that was a light bulb. Like I said, that was another light bulb moment for me. Consistently comparing yourself to what others are doing. Just be consistent in doing what God has called you to do, because he gave each one of us a calling. And we need to know that if he called us, what do we say? He'll equip you, but you got to be willing and be open and be in a place where you're there, and he knows that you are there, to be able to do what he's called you to do. So you have to be consistent. you can't quit, you can't give up, because like you said, in the end, you'll look up and say, I love this. Somebody, I went to, I think I was at a meeting, and somebody said this: the enemy always want you to keep looking back, because he wants you to trip and fall.
Wow.
Because and he wants you, he don't want you to see how far you come. And sometimes you're so close to the finish line, but if you keep looking back and thinking about what you've done and how far you looking back, how far it is, and not looking to see how close you are to the finish line, because he wants to keep you in a place where you are not able to see that what you've done so far has been a good thing. So don't give up on it. Just, you know, you're gonna have, Deborah always say, you're gonna have some setbacks.
Yeah.
But those setbacks are there for you to get up and keep moving. And hopefully we learn something when we are in that place where things are not going right. But you don't want to give up. You're too close to give up now. That's what I think about.
Wow. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, write that in the comment section. I am too close to give up now. Mr. Carroll, one of the things that I found that will help a person not to quit on their journey, to never quit on their journey, is to have a plan.
Got it. Ooh.
Is to have a plan. There's a statement that he who fails to plan is planning to fail. That is an old statement that is said it that way. But here's the interesting thing I found. If I wanted to go to Houston from Dallas, going to Houston, I can plan a few stops. They call it rest spots. You remember you talk about that? Yeah. Rest spots. It's restroom breaks. Check your tires. Refill your car. You know what I'm saying? It's all a part of the journey. And so I know that I don't want to drive the entire 4 hours without stretching. So what I'm going to do is an hour and a half in, I'll pull over and come out, stretch, get me a cup of coffee, and and check the car and so forth. All of that is a part of ensuring that you don't quit. Exactly. The problem is a lot of people quit because they have not drawn up a plan that even has rest built into it. I was talking to a client not so long ago, and I told them, you are responsible for the schedule. They said, well, I said, you can block a week off. You can block 2 weeks off. If you plan for the break, it's called a plan. If you just disappear for a month, there's a fair factor there that you quit. But if you plan to shut down for 2 weeks, then that's not a bad thing. That was an intention. So if you knew that you're going to Houston and I'm going to make 4 stops,
right,
to eat, use the restroom, service the car, fill up the tank, stretch my body, it's still a break. And ladies and gentlemen, don't be afraid to take a break.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to rest. Don't be afraid to construct the whole plan on your timeline.
Right.
It's okay. Now, here's the deal. What you're not going to do is you're not going to quit. You're going to keep chucking along, and you're going to honor the breaks, because even a good iPhone demands that you turn it off to reboot it up again. Come on, somebody.
That's good. And just like you say, Coach, you got to have a plan. And that is so key, that you have a plan. And within that plan, like you say, you put in place places that you're going to stop. Places you're going to take a rest. You're going to get you a drink or whatever. And I think that even when making your plan, if it's not that road trip, just making that plan every day of what you're going to do, you are responsible for that. And you're responsible for making sure you get through your plan. And we know emergencies happen and things happen, and we have to have some detours, as Deborah said. There may be some detours, but that is no reason to stop. And you still have that total responsibility that when those things happen, how are you going to handle that? How is that going to change your plan? What are you going to do if something upsets your plan? But the bottom line is, you got a plan. So if you got that plan, you can make those decisions because you're responsible for it. And like you said, if you're the boss and you need to take off 2 weeks, you can do so. So it's all about you taking time and taking full responsibility for those things in your life that actually governs your life. If you,
Yeah.
you know, if you're going to have an effective life, it means you got to make a plan. You got to think outside of the box and not just thinking about what's going on right now. Because I think when we get to that point that we want to quit, it's a failure to plan. It's a failure to look for, you talk about the unexpected is going to happen. So what are you going to do when those things happen? But if you plan for the unexpected, we don't know what it is, but life will surely happen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good.
The next one we said, never I love this one, Coach. Never suppress your voice.
Yeah.
That was me. And I a light bulb moment. I realized that somebody was speaking what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Like they knew what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So that's kind of suppressing your voice. And I think you have to get to the place that you really know your voice matters.
Yeah.
Your voice matter. And it may not matter to everybody, but your voice matter. And I think you have to have the confidence to know that you can have something to say that someone will appreciate it. But you got to be confident enough to know that it is your voice. God gave you that voice, and you have to be willing to speak up and speak out the things that you know that are that the things that you know that need to be said. But a lot of times I found out that even in suppressing your voice, somebody needed to hear what you were thinking about, and you were afraid to speak it out. And because you were afraid to speak it out, you kept that person from hearing the things that they might have been able to use to move forward, and you kept yourself in a place that you were suppressed and not there.
That is so good. That is so good. As a matter of fact, a biblical reference to that, Mr. Carroll, is David would have never been king had he suppressed his voice.
Oh my God.
I mean, when his brother said, "What are you doing here? Why aren't you dealing with them sheep? Go back." Well, and David says, "Can I ask a question?" And the Bible says that he said it this way. He said, "Is there not a cause for me?" Here's the reason why I'm asking the question. Here's the reason why I'm inquiring as to what's going on. How he suppressed his voice. I can, what's this? I can assist. I can take the giant out. I can be the problem solver here. And there are some people, they suppress the voice in that of not being willing to speak up when they need to speak up. When the truth is, as you mentioned just now, somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And, you know, there is some level of self-awareness that goes into this to the point where you realize, I'm going to say what I have to say, even if everybody's not for what I'm saying.
Right. That takes courage.
It does. It does. I was telling somebody, I said, man, listen, I have a master's degree in eggshell walking. I got a master's degree in eggshell walking. So there's been many times. As a matter of fact, I was in a meeting. I was on the phone with a guy as a consultant. And I said, I just want you to know, I respect who you are and the position you hold, but please know, I know more than I'm saying.
Wow. That was a lot of little underlining things there, Coach.
Come on, man. And the truth is, we all know a little bit more than we're saying. You know, I learned a long time ago, don't argue with the people that are closest to you, because they oftentimes they're seeing so much more of you than you see of yourself. So I'm eternally grateful for when the people that are around me don't suppress their voices in my life and say something, because it helps me a little bit. Now, you know, I can only take on so much of constructive criticism or any form of criticism, little bits of time, because it can overwhelm me too, right? I'm still human. But I'm not afraid to hear, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to benefit from what the person has to bring to me. So don't be afraid to hear. Then somebody said, well, what if they say too much that overwhelms you? Then what I've learned to do is departmentalize that thing and eat that like you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Now, here's what I'm not going to do at 47. You're not going to tell me I have to fix all of these issues by Friday.
Oh, no.
Hey Ricardo, in the next 2 weeks you got to get your act together in all of these areas. Well, I'll be like, you know what, hey, watch this. I'm 47 years old, and you're not gonna put no time now. I'm gonna be better, and I may work on every single one of those things. But a lot of people are stressed out because they've suppressed their voice and not spoke up when they needed to.
And that's exactly right, because all of that just leads to a lot of internal things that can end up being a loss of your health,
Yep.
and then because I used to always say I'm just so aggravated and agitated, but it was the things that was going on inside because I wasn't speaking up. I didn't give any value to my voice, and I would just sit back and let everybody say whatever they want to, and say things to me and come back and say, "Oh, I was just kidding," and all that kind of, how people do stuff like that. But I said this: a lost voice can lead to a lost identity, lost value, and loss of self-worth. We have to put some value in our own voice, and all of this goes back to it's all inward, Coach. You got to do the inward work. And you got to be able to see who took my voice and why did I give it up? So all of those things. And I'm in the era where our parents used to say kids need to be seen but not heard. I had to unlearn that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes some kids can teach us some stuff if we listen. But like you said, you can't let people put you in that kind of position because it will make you angry. It will make you aggravated and agitated, and it will make your body stressful and have high blood pressure and everything else. All of that begins to work on your health when you do that.
When we talk about suppressing your voice, there are people who suppress their voice in marriage. There are people who suppress their voice with children. There are people who suppress their voice on the job. There are people who suppress their voice in a committee, on a team, amongst staff members. It's all over the place. And as you just said, it'll make you sick. Here's what I believe that you can do. I have learned to choose to know when to let it go. And I think it goes to our next point. Never react in anger. Never react in anger. Here's what I do. Whenever issues start to present themselves to me, Ms. Carol, what keeps me keeping my bearings? One, there are some basic rules of engagement. And that is, one, don't disrespect me. Okay? Disrespect me. And should someone choose to disrespect me, you just never know. I still believe I have a good bit of time to live unless someone chooses to disrespect me. Well, one, I can leave.
Just remove yourself, huh?
I can remove. I wish to God I knew that when I was a kid. I wouldn't have gotten in so much fight. Watch this. But I didn't have to. I didn't have to react that way. Like I didn't have an option. I could leave. That's number one. Should I not allowed to leave, I can defend myself to make myself wait to leave. Okay. But I've also concluded nobody can make me angry. I've become angry. I'll say, you know what? I'm starting to get angry. And I'm starting to get angry because I'm not pleased with what is happening. That's one point. But the person is not making me angry. I'm learning that my anger management side comes from me. You're not in charge of how I get angry. Somebody said, she gonna make you angry. She can't make me angry. He can't make me angry. I choose to be angry. And I'm telling you, Mr. McGee, you don't want to make me angry. That's Incredible Hulk. Mr. Incredible Hulk say, you won't like me when I'm angry. But I've learned how to take that inner working going on and be like, how did that make you feel? You're not upset. And then what I've learned too, Miss Carol, is watch this. I've learned to identify when someone is operating in a stupid position, an unreasonable position, or in a hot-tempered position. And I had to learn how not to become the second idiot in the conversation. Where, they're going irate. They're getting real aggravated and upset and frustrated and getting real loud, I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to join you because at that point, it's going to be two of us are fools. Nobody's listening.
And they said, and when you see two people out arguing like that, nobody really know who's the real fool because both of you are looking like one. But the Bible says, Coach, that don't be quick to be provoked to a spirit of anger. He said, now this one helped me a long time ago. Anger lies or rest in the bosom of a fool.
Wow.
I was like, well, if I don't want to be no fool, I better check this out. And another thing, when we allow other people, like you said, they can't make you angry, but you give control over to them when you allow them to get you angry. And one other thing is, if they're up here to 10, if you come down to a 3 or 4, that's going to help you. And then they not going to realize that they can't hear what you're saying. So it may diffuse them a little bit. So we're still in control. We have to be in control of ourselves.
We have to be. That's why the scripture says, another scripture says, be angry and sin not.
Sin not. That's what it says.
The sin factor is out of control.
That's right. Absolutely. It is out of control.
You get to the point where you are out of control, that's going to be sin. All things are permissible to me, but not all things are beneficial. I'm not going to go to a place where this is going to be unbecoming of who I believe I am.
You're out of character when you let people make you.
You're out of character.
You're out of character.
I'm learning. I'm not saying anything I don't want to say, and I ain't doing nothing I don't want to do. I'm 47 years old. Hello? I'm 47 years old, and somebody said, look what you just said. That's what I said. I'm 47 years old. I've said what I say. I've done what I've done. Okay, now you're wrong for that. If I choose to identify and accept the fact that I'm wrong, I'll also apologize.
Right.
Okay, I ain't too big to apologize.
Right.
I ain't too big to say I was wrong.
Right.
I ain't too big to say, please forgive me. That won't happen again.
And that's part of maturity, and that's part of effective living, right? Because we're not perfect. So if I mess up, I can admit and acknowledge that I messed up. If I got out of character, I can admit, because I'm far from perfection, because I am becoming, and guess what? He is perfecting us. Perfecting. And we haven't arrived at, and we have to realize that it's some days we're going to get up and we may not look like who he called us to be. But I can be okay saying, I'm sorry. I apologize, that I should have said that, and that was truly out of character for me. I think that shows a side of humility, and that shows a side that we are still human, and we're still a work in progress. And I love the fact that we can rest on that and be okay, but we can know that some days we're not gonna be, have these check marks and everything, but we got to be okay knowing that I'm working on that, and I recognize that I need some help in that area,
Yep. I totally agree. Let's go to the next one. What's our next one?
The next one is, oh my goodness, never make excuses. Never make excuses. Lord, and you have a whole section in the book
crippling
about
effects.
The crippling effects of excuses, and it's so easy, Coach, for us to get into that mindset that we can make excuses. Why are you late? Well, all of the dog got out the thing. The traffic was bad, but you late because you didn't plan. Like you say, you didn't plan that these things can happen. And somebody said this long time ago, that if you are supposed to be someplace at 8 o'clock, you're late if you get there at 7:45, because you need to be on. That's I'm a stickler about time.
You are.
But we find all these things to make excuses. This may not never work out. I'm reading from your book. I'm from a challenge, or that's one of our favorite ones. Well, my daddy didn't do. My mama didn't do. We look at all those excuses, but the reality of it is they might not have done that. But what are you going to do with your life from this point forward? You know, it's just so easy, you know, and I'm sure you hear that all the time. You probably heard it from me. I'm just gonna be upfront and tell you. but but once again, when you realize that you're making excuses and those excuses are hindering you, those excuses are sabotaging you, those are excuses are keeping you from building your best life, Miss Deborah. So, and our effective life, if we keep making excuses for our behavior, for the things that we're not doing, and start looking at the things that you can do and put in place and improve on. You know, you might not have done it yesterday or 20 years ago, but stop using that as an excuse to stay where you are, to stay. I keep saying we'll stay stuck, coach. We won't be coming. We won't be becoming. We will just be staying right where we are. And so even excuses come up under complaining. I love Joss Mouse because she said, when you complain, you remain. And that's the same thing with an excuse.
Wow, so good, so good. One of the things I'm going to put a unique twist on the excuses position. I've been looking at this lately for myself because what I found is, like you just mentioned, there are so many windows for excuses. When people ask me things like, you know, let's just say, unfortunately, if I arrive late, I walk in and I'm late. Hey, you're late. My apologies. Hey guys, let's go ahead and get this meeting started. I'm not going
to dwell on that.
No, I'm not going into the traffic was my alarm clock. I'm not doing that no more. I'm 47 years old. Okay. I'm not doing that no more. I realize I made a mistake. I'm late. I'm not gonna make an excuse on late no more. Or you get what I'm saying? I do. I'm not gonna call the phone company. Oh my goodness, I was supposed to put the check in the mail, but you all turned my light off. I apologize. No. Hey, the light's off. I'm calling to pay now. Well, what happened, Mr. Miller? Hey, the light's off. I'm calling to pay now. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm not going into that. Get pulled over the light. How come you? Hey, you just ran the light off. I'm wrong. I apologize.
Wow.
My apologies. Well, you know what had happened was the car was coming in the back of me. No, I'm not doing no excuses. I did run the light. My apologies for that, sir. I'm not gonna do it again because I'll pay more closer attention next time. Do you see what I'm doing?
I do. I see you turning that around, and like I see what you're saying. If you are late, don't just sit up and take that excuse of all these other things and start making that a big deal. Just accept the responsibility that it is on you and you're late. It is on you. You ran that red light. You know, instead of going through all of that long drawn out stuff.
You feed it with all of these justifiable crutches that we use as crutches. Well, you know, they say, well, why didn't you fill out the form? Well, if you knew the school I went to, I really didn't come up with much education. What I got to do about this form? Why actually fill out the form? Well, you know, if you and we start saying, you know, well, why did they let you go? Well, you got warning 4 times. They let you go because they well, no, they let me go because I'm a black man. They let me go because you know. Let me tell you something. That they always had it out for me. Let me tell you something. I saw 6 months ago they were trying to talk about and justifying and making these excuses. Hey, I arrived 4 times late. It didn't put me in the most favorable position. Yes, the atmosphere was not for me, but I definitely didn't help because I showed up 4 times and got written up and lost my job. Do you see what I'm saying?
Take responsibility for you. Just take responsibility and just stop looking. Like you say, you keep going down those that's what you call them, crutches. That's what they are. Crutches that will and guess what? If you late again, you're gonna have another crutch. And it just continues to be that cycle of those things that you continue to do. Instead of my lights out, what do I need to do? I didn't pay the bill. That's an obvious thing that we know. So why am I going to try to keep adding more and more things, feeding more and more things to the fact that whatever happened has happened? And what do I need to do to rectify that?
Most excuses are attached to a lie.
They are.
So you end up moving from making excuses to
Uh-huh.
eventually, if you keep feeding excuses, you move over to the category of just outright lying. So now
Wow.
you're lying. You're just a liar. So now you got a different issue. Because now what you didn't even have to lie about, you just simply accept it is what it is. You've now put yourself in another position that will literally, discredit you and
Mm-hmm.
cause people to see you in a non-respectable position.
Mm-hmm. Coach, I wrote that down too. I said excuses usually leads to sin, and you call
Yeah.
that sin out a lie.
I,
It's a lie. All
yeah.
right. Well, you ready for the next one?
We got two more and a couple
Got
minutes to
two.
do it. Yes, let's do
Let's
it.
go. Let's go.
Number
Never
number.
blame others. Never blame others. And
Oh,
boy, you want to take that one?
I want to take it. I want to take it.
Go ahead.
I've come to learn. Somebody said, well, what happened? Well, you know what? My apologies. It's so easy. Well, if RJ had done this, or when Karen got off late at work, or my mama in the Bahamas was trying to call, and boy, my neighbor needed me, and it's just we try to blame others. It's really not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. And I found myself at this stage in my life, I'm 47, as I've mentioned more than a dozen times on the show tonight, to just simply, rather than blame somebody else, I'm just like, you know what? Wow. A couple of weeks ago, I had a blowout on the road. 2 tires, Miss Carol, 2 tires.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, Karen laughed because I was on the phone. And she said, I bet you probably looked at your phone when you hit that bump, and that bump blew out 2 of my tires, right? Now somebody, oh, you need to call the city, and oh my goodness, why they put those type of stuff in the road, the cones to slow down traffic, and there's all this stuff. Hey, that was, if I stayed in the line, I would not have hit that thing.
Let's be for real, huh?
Somebody said, I would take a picture and send it to the city and let them pay for them 2 tires. Listen, it was the bumps that they had to tell you don't cross over in the lane.
Oh.
My low profile tires doesn't have enough to take a bump on one of those, and it hit it and it blew out both of them. Now here's the deal. Had I not been distracted, had I not been doing something I should not have probably been doing while I'm trying to get en route,
Right.
but it's so easy to
It
blame others. And blaming others can become a habit.
It can.
It can become a habit. You can become addicted to it to the point where it becomes a turn off, because people now can see that that's what you do. You're blaming your baby daddy. You blaming your neighbor. You blaming your boss. You blaming the black man. You blaming the white man. You blaming the Hispanic.
System.
You blaming the system. You blaming the president. You blaming the police department. You blaming the pastors. If the church would do more in the community, if it's oh Lord, and here's the deal. This goes back to personal responsibility. I'm not going to be one to blame others.
Right. Absolutely. We have to get to that place. And all of these, Coach, are really about us taking some responsibility for ourselves. But the last one says, never doubt yourself. And so when we look at that and always doubting ourselves, it to me seems that you don't have any confidence in you.
Yep.
You got to have some confidence in you. You got to stop. That goes back up to number 1, looking for others to give you that approval that you need. But you've got to know that you have worth, you have value, God gave you a mind. And so you have to know that you can't go through life continuously doubting who you are, doubting who God made you to be. So you have to, like I said, it keeps you stuck. And so when you get to the place of doubting yourself, even if it's been mistakes that you made, you can't let that dictate who you are and what you can be. You have to be okay and know that you can't let those doubts about things of the past. Sometimes we get stuck in the past about things, and that create doubt. Our experiences, our experience in life can create doubt. If we've had people all along telling us what you can't do, not building your self-esteem. Well, maybe you had those things, but when are you going to start building your own self-esteem, building your own worth, knowing that if you make a mistake, so what? You took the risk. That doesn't mean that you're the failure. That means something failed. And so you need to be willing to know that you don't have to doubt who you are and have that doubt in yourself, because once again, that can cripple you. That can keep people that could actually make people don't want to be around you because you are so indecisive about stuff. So that's kind of what position I took on that one, about doubt and keeping yourself stuck, and stop getting steeped in that past and those experiences, and know that you have the ability now to be whatever, you have the ability to change. Like you say, you're not a rock, so you can change some stuff. So, but if you keep putting yourself down and thinking that once again, you think you can't, these are things that we need to forget about, saying that you can't, that I never will be able to. They got a better family than I got. All of those are things that will keep us in a place where we have all of these 8 things that will affect us. And I think they all kind of a little bit related. I believe that.
They do. And they're all internal. As you just mentioned. They're all internal. Never doubt yourself. Now, here's the deal. The Bible says, study to show yourself approved unto God. Make sure you do the work to learn what you need to learn. Go to the why of everything. Where did that come from? And then own what you've discovered. And let me tell you something. When you become informed, it increases your confidence.
It does.
Okay?
It really does.
And the truth, the Bible said, the truth sets you free. Okay, when you've discovered the truth, it'll set you free. So, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to encourage you. Just look at your life and know that on your journey to living life effectively, you're gonna have to decide to establish these nevers. I'm going to eliminate. Never seek approval, never beg for attention, never quit. Never suppress your voice. Never react in anger. Never make excuses. Never blame others. Never doubt yourself. Now, here's the deal. It's up to you to decide if you're going to the next level. These got to be a part of your personal development. I'm out, Ms. Carol. What's your final
my last thing is that the Lord always gives some nevers too. He said he will never, and it's Thanksgiving time, and people sometimes will be alone, but he said he will never leave or forsake you. His love never fails us. It endures forever. And my favorite that I'm going to close it out on is from 1 Peter 2:6. He said, the one who trusts in him will never be put to shame. So that's my favorite one right there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed tonight's talk, do me a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel, put on that notification bell. Listen, guys, this is Thanksgiving week, Black Friday. We got sale going on my Effective Living book. Buy your book and shirt for $24.95.
Wow, that's a good sale.
Yeah, you get, listen, 2 for 1. And so go to my website, order, support the platform. We ain't going nowhere. And we ain't going nowhere because we got people like you supporting what we're doing. Miss Carol, thank you so much for another exciting Monday night conversation. God bless you. Enjoy.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Good night, everyone.
Good night.